Staying safe, I hope.
Mm-hmm. Happy digging.
What?
No!
I saw something near Shimmer Mist Cave to the northeast. Some kind of creature, small and wicked. Never.
The Psijics emphasize the totality of an object. A mead bottle is both the honey that makes it and the fool it will someday intoxicate.
Ah, yes, I'm glad you stopped by. With as much work as we have cut out for us in exploring every corner of Skyrim, I thought that it would make sense if we didn't have to travel all the way back to Solitude between each venture. So I was thinking we could establish a number of field stations in centralized locations across Skyrim. Places we could rest, research, and resupply. Sort of R and R and R. Oh, you get the idea. Good, well then. I'll need 100 units of lumber, 40 blocks of stone, and about 20 slabs of clay for each of the 3 stations I have in mind. This first station is a bit off the beaten path. It will be on a cliff to the south of Sarhall, and a stone's throw away from Alfthand as well. I have already spoken to Tolfdir, and he is quite excited about this venture. He has also seen to it that the Jarl's tax for the land was paid. Now we just have to build the building. If you wouldn't mind gathering the supplies for the first station, while I make the appropriate arrangement with the Jarls, should be done in a few days. Oh yes, everyone is eager to get underway. We've delved into the main chamber already, and broken through the stone blocking our way. But as expected, there are obstacles. If you wouldn't mind, could you venture in and clear out any of the wildlife that is inside? We've tried scaring them off with torches and spells, but they are mighty hostile. Good. We'll be ready when you return.
Yes, we should be fully equipped and good to go, Guildmaster. I'll be sticking around base camp mostly to make sure everyone has what they need.
Well, I mostly help Ariana move her inventory around, and help Professor Marassi or Arion with whatever they need in prepping for a dig. But now that you mention it, I do have some extra time on my hands, and have a little knack you might be able to help with. If you can bring me 5 samples of any one type of ore, I can prospect that off for you. I can usually find another trace ore type, or a gem, that most people would overlook and lose in a smelting process. If I do find one, it will usually derive from one of the samples, so you get 4 of them back, and a new element, which is usually of a better variety of ore, or a precious gem. Just let me know. Oh sure, what kind? It goes well. I was just prying down that big slab and not knowing what to expect for once. instead of just looking for metal.
Yeah, should be interesting. Not as interesting as ᵯᴑᴆᴆᴇᴆ here, to be sure. Just an old Nord cave and all, but could be fun.
Oh yes, Avram can certainly handle things for a while. Plus, I have wanted to join an expedition for some time. This should be quite fascinating.
Why, yes, Guildmaster. In fact, Latoria does have something interesting to share. I was with Professor Marassi the other day, while he investigated a Nordic burial ruin, and I discovered this lost incantation. Using it on a ruined, unreadable book reverses their age, so they can once again be legible. It only works briefly, so Latoria can only transcribe a page or two before the book turns to ash. But if you bring enough ruined books, I could piece together a full text from many ruined copies. Latoria thinks about 20 at a time should suffice. But bring her all you can find, and Latoria will give you a copy of whatever she finds. Oh, some rare books, spell tomes, even a possible treasure map or two. Who is to know? Be exciting to find out, no? What do you think? Excellent. Latoria eagerly awaits your return. Oh yes, it is very exciting.
here lies perfection, and yet I can already sense the spectre of decay lying in the shadows, waiting to wrap it in its foul womb.
Wood! Nakast! Wood! Nah!
Ah, good news. We'll head back in right now and continue the dig. Give us a few days and check back in case anything comes up.
It's dirty, grimy work, but we're getting there.
It's slow going. Some areas are harder than others, but many of the heavy rocks can be rolled aside with little effort.
I've got a little of everything you'll need for your next expedition.
Oh yes, there are some very interesting inscriptions on some of the stones. Latoria thinks that there is much more ahead.
A little of this, a little of that. Right now it's mostly caves, but there are signs of Nordic architecture, so I expect we'll find something soon.
Wood! Nakast!
Oh, my friend, wait! Be very careful. I'm afraid we may have unearthed something terrible. We got past the rubble here yesterday and ventured into the passages, fought our way past some creatures and came to an open pass in the mountains. But lo and behold, we've discovered not one, but 2 dragons guarding the pass. I'm afraid the only way we are going to be able to continue to the southern side of the pass is through that clearing. And through those dragons. Well, be careful. For 2 dragons to be here, they must be guarding something significant. But whatever it is, isn't worth dying over.
Nakast! What?
Oh, have you? Wonderful. We'll come with you. I'd love to see what it leads to.
Well, decades at least. Dozens, if not hundreds, of masons and stoneworkers digging and building around the clock. Really quite impressive.
Why, yes, the carvings, inscriptions. They are really quite impressive for a culture that didn't have the tools and technology like the Dwemer.
Yes, there is definitely the presence of the voice down here. And the presence of many other magics as well. Very exciting.
Yes, so it would seem. These inscriptions are Atmorin, obviously carved around Jürgen Windcaller's era. Really quite amazing that they could tunnel through the entire mountain. Hard to tell how deep they may have gone. Oh, fascinating. Do you mind? I'll have Latoria take it back to Orion and see what we found here. Meanwhile, we'll press onward with you. Lead the way. Looks like another blockage. What do you think, Kaya?
Well, it looks pretty dense. Limestone with granite. Could take a few days to get through.
Well, blast it all. Very well, let's get to work then. We'll work on this as quickly as we can, but it may take a few days. Leave it to us, and check back in a few.
Wood? Nah!
All around us this world fades and is born anew. That is fine, for most of this land is replaceable. That which is not, is where tragedy lies. The secrets of life and death were not meant for mortal kind. I care not for meaning.
Ah, you're back. It goes well, but we ran into some more problems on the other side of the pillar we cleared. Would you mind checking it out? We're almost ready to start digging again when the area's cleared. Good to hear. Let me know when it's safe to go back in.
Wood? Nakas!
Yes, it's a bit colder up here than at the cave mouth, but we'll manage. The sooner we can get back to digging, the better, though. Good. We'll head back in then. Give us a few more days and we'll get past that cave-in.
Things are very cold here. Even worse on the south side of the pass. Latoria does not like the cold.
Broke a pick the other day. The ground out here is so hard from being frozen solid. It's quite the task to get through it.
Yep, lots of rock, lots of dirt. Found some interesting plaques yesterday, though, and a few ancient Nordic weapons.
Guildmaster, you are back. A terrible thing has befallen us. Latoria was bringing the Windcaller relics back to Professor Marassi when she heard a terrible screaming sound. Something not of this world. It scared poor Latoria, and she lost her balance, tripped, and knocked the wind out of her. After she composed herself, Latoria noticed that the relics were gone. Something terrible swooped in and stole them from her. Latoria does not know, and Latoria does not want to find out either. The others were past the blocks when it happened. So Latoria can only assume it was something they unearthed. They came running out right after Latoria, scared out of their minds. Oh, thank you. Latoria will be staying here until you discover what it is and remove it. Terrible, horrible sounds.
Oh, Latoria must have gotten to you first. Yes, it's some dreadful sound that thing in there is making. But Latoria's getting carried away. Poor thing is just a terrible fraidy cat. But in all seriousness, it does have everyone a little on edge, and most don't want to go back in until you figured out what it is. And hopefully recover what it stole. Thank you, as always, Guildmaster. I'll have everyone ready for your return.
Wood! Nakas!
Well, well. What have we here?
Wait. So, that was the cannibal beast that had Latoria running?
What, that? Latoria is so humiliating.
How amusing.
Well, don't feel too bad,
I
Latoria.
take some
That
solace
little
in the
critter had
fact
this
that
one running just as fast for the hills.
and none
Oh, I did not. Anyway, it was shrieking like a devil, it was. We all ran for it.
Well, I suppose that is true. It seems this little guy has taken quite a liking to you, Guildmaster. What do you say we give him a proper name?
What about Fafnir?
Well, I say, that sounds like a pretty good name.
I
Yeah.
like that name.
Yes, that's quite fitting. Fafnir was a dragon known for his greed, and our little friend here is certainly
What?
shown affinity for shiny
Ah! Great, then it's settled. Fafnir it is. Well, I don't know about all of you, but I am ready to return to the guild with our spoils and start cataloguing our finds. Not to mention get a little rest and relaxation before our next big outing.
Oh,
I'm
I'd
all for
second that.
Great. Well, we'll get things packed up here, Guildmaster, if you want to meet up at the guild house. And thanks for all your help.